Magic is a web series, as I said, for MX Player, directed by Nikhil Rao, who's an ad man for many, many years. He runs Jamik Films, a very popular ad filmmaking company. And he made one of the coolest series I've ever done, or I think that we've seen in India yet. Basically, it's about a guy who is a junkie, ODs, goes to rehab, and in rehab discovers a drug that sort of unlocks the mind and expands your mind, and sort of like Bradley Cooper's Limitless. And then he starts to sell this drug on the black market. I had so much fun making it, and I think it's absolutely superb, and one of the most high quality shows I think I've seen. And I don't talk about my work in such a big way unless I'm really really excited about it. So that one has a special place. So I thought, let me add that to your list. Other than that, yeah. So there's KTina with Disha, which is this sort of romantic chick flicky kind of movie. Super fun to do that kind of thing. I think usually the sort of parts I play are a bit more intense, like Magic I just mentioned, or even Gurgaon, Lal Rang, Pizza, even Kala Kandi is a sort of a dark comedy. So I rarely play these light-hearted, romantic kind of characters, and it was super fun to do it. And it was produced by Ekta Kapoor, obviously Balaji, and Raj Shandelia, the writer and director of Dream Girl, wrote the script. And Ekta's like one of my favorite producers. I feel like I've been promoted internally through the Balaji ranks. There was Test Case, and then there was Hum Tum and Them recently, and now this film. And yeah, super glad that she gave me something sort of fun and light-hearted to do. Then Madam Chief Minister with Richa, Saurabh Shukla, Manav Kaul, and Thiruttu Payale. Actually, I shot both in Lucknow back to back. So I was in Lucknow for like all of Jan and December, and I was there for quite a stretch in the same hotel. Some days going to this set and some days going to that set. In Madam Chief Minister, I play a politician. You kind of see his journey to becoming an MLA, and super fun. I mean, I'm not so politically well versed, so I had to do a lot of research, and I think that's a very exciting thing about acting, is that you get to learn things you didn't necessarily have that much in-depth knowledge of before. To figure out how somebody gets through the ranks of politics is not something I knew. I relied very heavily on Subhash sir, because he was a political journalist before becoming a director, and I think he's a brilliant as a director, and I'm sure he was as a journalist as well, because he has quite a bit of knowledge. And did my own research and stuff, and I had a lot of fun doing that film. I think it's a special one, and as I said, I think he's a really good director, and I think that one's turned out really special. So let's hope. Thiruttu Payale is a remake of a South film. So I've seen the South original and absolutely loved it. It's like, it's like a commercial high content sort of film. I feel like it should work in a commercial place, and it has really good content. I mean, it's this cat and mouse chase between the hero and the villain. The hero, quote unquote, is played by Vineet Singh, who was in Mukkabaz, and I play the villain, and Urvashi Rautela is sort of in between us. And as I said, it's this cat and mouse chase, and I have a lot of fun playing negative villainous characters, because there's a sort of an unpredictability to them, and that's so much fun when acting, because you're literally letting the moment dictate what's going to happen, and nothing is pre-planned and nothing is sort of etched out, and it's a mood and a feeling that really carries the performance. And after Gurgaon and this web series I did called Flesh, produced by Siddharth Anand, who directed War, this is another villainous character I get to play, like out and out villain. I mean, I've played a bunch of grey characters, but out and out villains are just so much fun. I know it sounds terrible, but in real life I'm nothing like that. So I think it's really fun to be able to do it on screen. And yeah, and I think the best part is all of these films have some really fun talent, fun actors to work with, really good actors to work with, and I think you learn something new from every actor you work with. There are reports about opposite Kareena Kapoor in Takht. I think for now let's leave it at no comment, but we will get back to that when we can comment. So yeah, no comment on that. You worked on both platforms, digital and film. Which one do you cherish the most as an actor? I don't think there's much of a difference, because if you notice, the people who are making web series are the same people making films. So we're literally shooting it the same exact way. Now, the difference is, with a web series, I get to develop a character over an entire season. So the arc of that character is, say if there's 8 episodes and each episode is an hour long, that's 8 hours of content where I get to develop a character. In a film, in 2 hours, you have to kind of tell that story. So yeah, there is more fun to developing something over an entire season. But of course, movies have their own magic, and told right, movies are extraordinarily effective. So I don't really know that I cherish one over the other, but from an acting standpoint, it is fun to be in these series because, as I said, I get to develop a character over time. I mean, it's almost like theater, right, where I get to run a part for 8 weeks, and every night I'm sort of working on it, and based on the audience feedback, I'm bettering it and changing it and developing it. Of course, I don't get the feedback from the audience like you do in theater when you're doing a web series, but since there's so much content to be told, you can sort of, the journey of that character and who he is, where he comes from, and where he's heading are a lot, you can work on those things a lot more. A director and actor you dream to work with. A director that I dream to work with would be... there's so many, so I'm trying to... I mean, you're asking me one, so... I think Mani Ratnam maybe. There are a few. Karan Johar, Mani Ratnam. I think Sanjay Leela Bhansali. There's so many. We have such good directors. Actors that I dream to work with, I think Nawazuddin Siddiqui would be amazing to work with. I think Irfan Khan, if I get the chance, would be incredibly... I mean, I was in Piku, but we're not in the same frame. I think these are two actors I would really, 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 really want to work with. Because I actually think as an actor, you learn a lot from the actors you work with. So, and I've been really fortunate to work with great actors like Randeep Hooda, Saif Ali Khan, Pankaj Tripathi, Sanjay Mishra. And from these people, I've stolen a lot of things, based on what they do. So it's a really good question. I mean, you really can better your craft by working with good directors like, Karan Johar and good actors like Irfan Khan and Nawaz, and it can really change you and the way you approach your work. Speaking of how life has changed me, your next question about the coronavirus pandemic, how am I keeping myself amid the quarantine? Life, how it's changed. Well, obviously, I'm not used to sitting at home. I'm used to being out and shooting and playing parts and playing different characters. And if not on sets, then in meetings and hearing stories and meeting filmy people and chatting. And, this has been quite... I've never been at home for this long a stretch, and especially in the last couple of years. Maybe when I was out of work as an actor and sort of unemployed was the longest I've been at home. But post that period, since I started really, getting work, I've been out the door shooting. So how it's changed me is it's reminded me to be a bit more mindful. I think it's taught me a bit more compassion. So hopefully when we all get back to work, we'll all be a bit more compassionate and kinder towards each other, and take things less for granted. I think for an actor, for an artist, having downtime and time to get in touch with yourself and being mindful is actually extraordinarily effective. I'm sure it works for everyone, but I feel like for a creative, it is very important to sort of pause on life and live life a bit in order to reconnect with your work. So that's been really good for me. I've been spending a lot of time. Obviously, my wife is working from home, and I've been watching the kiddo. We have a 3-year-old son. So it's been great fun to play with him all day and, chase him around the house. And I do a bit of gardening, so he helps me garden. He helps me clean the house. I've been watching movies again, which is, my first love and passion. And finally, I feel like I haven't seen films in a while since I've been working so much, been doing a bit of that. I'm also trying my hand at writing something, maybe developing something. Let's see where that goes. I think it's nice in this quarantine time to pick up a skill set that I necessarily didn't have before. So that's that. First thing you're planning to do post the lockdown. Meet my family and friends. I think that's and also for me, acting is not a job. It's a passion and a drug and a hobby, and it's almost like a nasha. So I really can't wait to get back on a set and act again, no matter what capacity that is. That is like I just have this itch that I need to get back on a set. And I need to act again. So hopefully I'll be acting again post this, and I'll be meeting people that I love and care about, and as opposed to just FaceTiming them. A message that I would like to give to everyone during this time. I mean, I'm not really anyone, but to give any messages. But I feel, it's a really tough time, and I think for once people are not thinking so much about themselves and thinking more about the universe and the toll this is going to take on people. And as I said earlier, I really hope that everyone, for now stays indoor, but post this comes out and it's just more compassionate and loving towards one another, and kinder towards one another, and more helpful towards one another, because I think this is the first time that human beings have realized that no matter what your economic position is or how powerful you are or where you come from, everybody is vulnerable to this. And it reminds us again that we are human and we are mortals, and anything can happen. So I really hope when we all get back to work and we all start going out again, that the world is just a kinder, nicer place to live in. Okay, thank you. I hope I've answered everything except for the one that I said no comment on for now. Thank you. Take care. Be safe. Lots of love. Bye.